Hey folks, and welcome back here to Gatekeeper Media as we continue to bring you coverage of the Disc Golf World Championships. We're in round one with our feature card. We've made it to the back nine here of the Supreme 18 at Jones Park. We appreciate you all for tuning in. Of course, special thank you goes out to our Patreon supporters who help make this possible. My name is Dustin Mouret, and with me once more is Nathan Queen. How's it going?
Doing well. We got to watch a decent amount of birdies on this front nine, especially compared to earlier on this year. As you see here, Väinö going 6 down after a bogey to start, Sexton 5 down after a bogey to start, leading our featured card over Calvin and Ricky.
Yeah, we got Corey Ellis and Chris Dickerson off to a good start through the front half of the course, as well as some other familiar faces in our top 10. As it looks like double digits might be what you need to be on the lead card based on the pace we're seeing so far.
Yeah, and here's the good one to get a birdie on. Hole 10, 724 feet. About 390 to get to those two trees that you saw. And then a very low ceiling green here. This is one of the greens could be a bit more questionable. If you land on the left side, you could be 20 feet away and not really have much of a look any further outside of 20, and you most certainly will not.
And Nate going for the main gap, but this forehand skips, and that's going to be nasty.
I don't think it's out of bounds.
We do sometimes see players take a really big hyzer on their right-hand side rather than taking the gap, so maybe a bigger arm might look to do that, which Väinö certainly does have that bigger arm. And there is that big hyzer.
Yeah, and he has pulled this way right.
I think he hit similar tree to Nate, maybe a little further back even.
Yeah, gonna end up over on that right side. There may be a hyzer in from there, but definitely not the ideal position.
That is so beautiful.
Again, going with that just forced forward shot that just flies so easily, just barely fades at the end, able to avoid that OB left side. He's going to have a pretty easy approach from there.
I thought Ricky might go for that big hyzer line, but he goes up the gap as well. It's swatted down, but in the open.
Sexton able to punch out pretty nicely. Gonna have an opportunity to get up and down now with a clean look to the pin.
Ricky has a bit more of an open look since he's not trapped underneath the tree.
Oh, and got the nose up on this. Was wanting that to just drift off to the right slightly, but with that nose up, never had a chance. He's going to fade into that left side. And pretty thick over there.
Indeed, there were a couple of greens where the trees kind of got trimmed near the pin, but this is not one of them, so still a very touchy shot required to give yourself a good putt, and Calvin's done well. Oh, that might have saved him.
Yeah, I think it did. That could have gone off to this left side where you see Ricky over here. But he should have a pretty good opportunity to say par now. Sexton should. And that's upside down slide. I did that twice earlier on this year. That's about all you have from over there. As Väinö gonna do the same thing.
Don't have to see that broken out too often, but they make it work.
At least you can slide it, I guess. At least there's some pine straw there where it is a play. Calvin gonna card the birdie and move himself to 5 down.
Looks like everyone else should be escaping with par.
And that is about what this hole averaged, a 3.9. Lots of pars, just under half the field taking par. And speaking of lots of pars, moving into hole 11, 493-foot par 3, gonna provide a lot of pars. Got OB left, OB right, and go straight down the middle with the right-handed backhand to get aggressive. You can go high left side with a forehand to pretty much lay up. If you have huge distance, it's possible to reach it, but keep it in bounds here.
Very tough par 3.
Yeah, that's a good shot. That's probably one of the closer ones in circle 2, maybe.
It's just kind of one of those tweener holes that can't really call it a par 4, but as a par 3, it's very tough to snag.
And not a play I expected to see. Forehand down the middle. It looks like he has kicked down and stayed in bounds instead of carrying off to the right side. That's very fortunate.
Yeah, usually forehands are more of just a wide left layup play. Oh, wow.
Oh, this is fantastic.
Oh, my goodness, Väinö. What a magnificent shot, dude. I thought this was destined for the trees, but it just escapes them.
Oh, man, using every bit of this fairway with that beautiful flex shot. He's going to put it 12 feet away.
That is such a high-level shot. I don't know if the camera can even do it justice how good that was.
Yeah, and Ricky is going to try to bite off of that same line, but just not quite able to use the fairway the same way Väinö did right there. That is, I think, the best shot we've seen so far this round. That was an incredible shot.
It might be one of the best shots this hole's ever seen.
Yeah, just 14% of the field able to card the birdie on this hole today. Calvin not quite able to connect to be one of those players. The third most difficult hole on the course.
Yeah. And I would imagine a lot of those birdies are probably from circle 2.
Yeah, only 1% parked. I don't know if they counted Väinö as parked or not, but he is right there at it.
Yeah, I mean, he's literally on the fringe of the bullseye. I would say that is parked, yes.
Oh, no, they have him as circle 1. So somebody was closer.
Wow. Or someone doing U-disc was a little unkind to him. I don't know. Either way, we are going to see him grab the birdie. That's what he cares about as we move on to hole 12.
Yeah, a 302-foot, another island hole, just like hole 6. But a little bit more uphill, and even though it says shorter, it seems to play a little bit farther with that uphill. Sidearm plays best for the slope of the landing zone. If you throw a right-handed backhand, it's pretty easy to skip down this hill to the left.
I imagine we'll be seeing a lot of forehands here.
And within a couple feet of each other there, a little bit long of the pin inside circle 1. I imagine gonna see Sexton go with the Firebird here. This is a little low, but just enough speed on it to clear that OB.
Yeah, probably fell in here from Ricky. Similar speed disc to that Firebird from Nate. That'll do great. I believe there was an ace today, or not? Am I not mistaken on this hole?
I believe it was Johnny McRae. Does that sound right?
That does sound exactly what I was thinking. What a story for him, by the way.
Absolutely.
Earlier this year, obviously had some heart troubles and has made a comeback and aced this hole. But here on our feature card, we got some birdies brewing as Calvin will grab one. 3 down through the last 4 holes.
Yeah, Calvin making a good run. And not only did Johnny ace this hole, he is also able to get himself a World Championships at the Masters earlier this year. Just incredible stuff as Väinö able to make his putt as well, moving him to 8 down for the round.
Oh, that was rude.
Yeah, Nate Sexton. Just a bit right side, but one you'd like to see stick. And again, we're going to have 3 of our 4 players take a birdie. Ricky getting a nice bounce back after bogey on the last.
The earth expanding, right hand and left. The picture alive, every part in its best light. I think heroic deeds were all conceived in the open air. I think I could stop here myself and do miracles. I inhale great draughts of space. I am larger, better than I thought. I did not know I held so much goodness.
Moving into hole 13, 466-foot par 3, plays a good bit downhill and has a slight movement off to the right. There's some OB you gotta carry, but shouldn't really be too much of an issue. You could fade out early to the left side. Another difficult hole here to get the birdie on.
Absolutely. One of the more difficult par 3s on the course, just like 11.
And this could be in jeopardy. Never mind. I was going to say if that OB left, but that was a very nice tree there.
Very kind to him indeed.
This one off to the left also. Actually ends up getting a kick that way, but looks like he did stay in bounds. This is one of those holes Ricky could really get his round going on.
I just didn't quite come out of that turnover when he wanted it to, but maybe there's still some kind of weird look to that.
Even though there hasn't really been much wind out here today, this is kind of one of those holes where there's always, it seems to be doing something. Just not without the elevation change going down to the pin.
Oh my. What a shot.
Yeah, that's a massive forehand. Gets himself up into circle 2. But just kind of coming off of this neighborhood road here, it seems like the wind's always a bit in play off of this tee. It looks like he liked it, and then it just kind of lost air at the end.
Now we're at the Wysocki Safari Zone.
Doesn't look too promising, but we know he likes to ramp up those raptor legs on some crazy shots.
Bucket hat mode will have to wait to be activated.
And look at Sexton. Circle's edge with a forehand.
Oh yeah, that's a well-played hole by Sexton.
Cashes it. That's such a big forehand. I know it's downhill, but that's still got to be 430 feet of power on that.
Oh yeah. And to fit it into such a narrow gap to have a putt. Power and precision to get the birdie there for Nate. Everyone else looking to clean up some pars. Oh.
And seemed like he was taking a bit more time on that than he typically does for that distance. I don't know if he was just feeling a little uncomfortable and must have never gotten comfortable as he left that one low. Not something you really see
range is usually pretty automatic from. So tough bogey there for Heimburg as we head over to hole 14.
695-foot par 4. Ideally, you'd like to push just past these trees that you see on the right. That tree in the middle is about 410 feet off of the tee pad. You can make it there. You have a pretty open shot. Ideally, a righty backhand has the best gap to get through this second part of the fairway. That ditch did play as OB earlier on this year, but they've adjusted that, which I believe is a great play. Difficult to have trees sticking out of the OB and really have a fair playing hole.
Yeah, now the challenge is just hitting the gap to make sure you get your birdie as opposed to getting double punished if you miss the gap.
Right.
So I agree with you on that. I think it's a great change to the hole.
And Sexton stays a bit far to the right. Nothing really wrong with that, but it does kind of close the gap down a little bit. You have to throw a much straighter shot. You don't really just get to throw that one angle. Oh, yeah.
Väinö will like that. That's more kind of in that golden zone to be in to make that approach a lot easier.
And again, probably getting close to that 500-foot range on just a hyzer. Probably throwing about 470 there.
That may join him.
Yeah, that's going a bit past him with the flex shot Ricky pulls out. He looks like his second shot, he's going to have to get his disc to go a little bit straight first as well. Not going to be able to do the single angle hyzer. It seems to be pulled off to the right. It is a stable disc though. Okay. Unexpected forehand play here. Not bad.
Yeah, just outside the circle, it looks like.
And this is going to be more of a flex type of shot here. You see him trying to pull it over to the right side. And does so pretty well. Needed a little bit more height to get up, but he's right there at circle's edge.
Yeah, probably 28 feet or so on his putt. Väinö's going to get tangled up in the rough.
Yeah, in my opinion, he was in the best spot, but just kind of early released that. Really needed to pull that out right.
Oh, this looks good from Wysocki. Right near the bullseye. Needed that, really. He's had kind of a cold start to this tournament.
Definitely so. Being the winner from earlier on this year, I'm sure he was expecting to come out fire, and he needs to put some birdies together to get this round going.
Good bounce back there from Calvin after bogeying the previous hole.
And this is another one with the change in that second part of the fairway, ditch not being OB, has moved to one of the easier holes on the course. 47% of the field carding a birdie today. Just really open on that tee shot. There is an OB carry, but not really too much to worry about. Moving into hole 15, 396-foot par 3. It's about 330 feet to get to the water's edge over on the left side. Ideally, you'd like to throw forehand into this so you're not fading towards that OB. A lot of righty backhands. You're going to see low, not too aggressive, and some circle 2 putts.
It's also that slope that you're playing into that makes the backhand even more risky for rollaways. And that's why the forehand's even more. I mean, that is an unreal forehand from Ricky, by the way.
Yeah, this is slightly uphill the entire way also, so playing a bit more than 400 feet. And he just easily forehands that up in there. This is trouble.
Indeed. There's that roll that you have to worry about.
It was a good tree, though. He was looking to fade into the water, OB, after that early release.
Big forehand here from Sexton. That too gets in circle one.
That's huge. That was so high.
I know. This is not a easy hole to birdie by any means.
And Väinö looking like he may just be playing for the par there.
I think a lot of backhand dominant players kind of will have to do that on this hole. If you don't have that big forehand, it's very hard to attack this pin.
Oh, and that's not really what you're looking for from Calvin. He's left himself a circle's edge tester for his par. Väinö doing so, pitching up nicely there.
I don't know, Sexton.
Yeah, a little nervous, man. That that hill is steep.
Yep.
And brings that water up closely. Calvin has to make that, though, and he does. Gets his par to stay at 6 down for the round. Ricky trying to make a push here, go back-to-back birdies, 3 out of the last 4.
That'll do. 3 of the last 4 going his way, as you were kind of talking about. As we were kind of discussing, after a cold start, he's really needed this to kind of keep himself in the mix. Granted, with there being 4 more days to go, there's a lot of time to make up space.
There is a lot of golf left. With the lower winds, though, it may be difficult to make those huge moves if our other players stay as hot.
That's very true.
Here we are at hole 16, one of the holes that seems to have stuck around for a little while now. 827 foot. Ideally, you'd like to land here, get past all of those trees. That's pretty difficult to do, though. That's probably 420 feet of power or so. From there, you've got another long OB carry, maybe 330 feet.
It's a tough hole, no doubt about it.
It is. And that is a fantastic drive. Has made it much easier on himself. That's tough to do. They're making it look easy, though.
Yeah, if you could place your disc somewhere, I feel like it'd be where he is. So that is to perfection for Ricky, really. Same for Calvin. If that can slow down. Yes. Okay. There is that OB not too far away from where he was.
Man, they just make that look too easy.
That is true. I wish I could do some of these things.
Sexton with a bit more human height on this shot. A little scary pulling it out wide to the right, but gets a good skip. And similar distance to the other guys. May have to put a little bit of right movement on it, depending on those trees on the right side in front of him. And again, just an incredible drives from our feature card here. All 4 of them. So Sexton, instead of that right movement, is going to go with the forehand. This is probably 380-foot shot to the pin.
Yeah, it's just near the circle's edge, so it's going to be probably about a 35-foot putt.
Yeah, so I probably shorted that a little bit. This is closer to 400 feet,
Oh,
where both of
Väinö.
these guys were from.
Oh, it looks so pretty. Just a little too much juice.
Oh, man.
That looks so good in the air.
And that shows you why Sexton came up short. You know, you can't, although it's that 400 feet, you really can't just throw it as hard as you want to. That OB creeping in behind, but Ricky Wysocki looking to get a turkey now, and 4 of the last 5 in position for a birdie on hole 16.
Calvin trying to use some height and stability to control the distance. Get himself in there. A little high on the putt. We'll have to settle for par. Great par save for Väinö. He kind of cooled off a bit. He was real hot on the front 9. A few pars in a row here, but still very much in top of the leaderboard position.
Yeah, besides hole 14, not really too bad of holes to take a par on.
Sure.
On this little par stretch that he's on. But Ricky doing some work, trying to put himself back in the mix. Or back on the leaderboard for this first round. He's always in the mix as he can fire off some hot rounds. But the only birdie here on our feature card before we move into hole 17, the second most difficult hole on the course today. You've got the straight option that the drone is flying. If you can get about 415 feet, you're going to be in the best position. You can see the flag from there, but you can't see the pin or the ground around it, so still a difficult upshot. There's also a high hyzer off to the right side that you can play off of the tee. The OB line has moved in tighter, so it's more difficult to get that to move back to the left inbounds, but still a very viable play with low winds.
This hole is certainly a bit of a behemoth, especially with some of these low ceiling approach shots you have to try to use once you get up here.
And Ricky, trying to make sure he doesn't hang that out wide, ends up catching some trees and leaving it pretty short. Going to be inbounds. And big wide hyzer, fights back inbounds. He's going to be in a good spot there. May be able to even see the pin.
Sexton trying to take that straight forehand through the gap, and this looks great.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, what a smash. That's past that 415 mark, I believe, by a good 50 feet. That doesn't even make sense. And Väinö with the good backhand shot down the middle, avoids that OB on the left side. Short left there for Ricky, not going to really be in birdie position, I don't believe.
Again, one of those holes where you're not too upset with par by any means.
Right. Oh, and look at the overstability of that disc. Really committing to pulling that off to the right side and using that skip. Gets up there nicely.
Oh, and Sexton kind of smoked that one. It's rolling away from the circle. It's going to be a long putt.
Yeah, brutal roll away after 2 good forehands to actually end up a bit long. Ricky leaving himself a bit of a tester putt for his par now.
And great adjustment from Sexton to save par. We've seen him miss a couple of putts short. This time he fully commits to it and is rewarded.
And what a great feeling that is after throwing 2 good forehands. I'm sure he didn't expect to be that far away from the pin on this blind approach. But moves him to 7 down for the round now, catching up with Väinö on our card. Calvin doing the same thing.
He snuck his way back into it, man.
Quietly chugging along.
Yeah.
Oh.
Man, I feel like Ricky's had a couple of putts draw metal that just look a little off, man.
Yeah, the finger's just not quite popping, it seems like, on a couple of them. Väinö had lots of pop on that one, almost popped right back out. And our last hole here at the Jones Supreme course today, hole 18, 789-foot par 4. That Mando that you saw off to the right side is about 500 feet off of the tee. You really need to be 80 feet, 80 to 90 feet left of that to have a good look through this gap for your second shot to approach the pin.
Big stalling hyzer here from Calvin. It's well into position.
And possibly too far left.
Right.
He is far enough back that he should still be able to put a decent amount of hyzer on it, but I don't think he has a straight look. I think he's pushed to the left of the gap.
More ideal here from Sexton.
Väinö really likes those stand-up shots and getting his to push forward a bit farther than the others. Gonna be in a pretty good spot there. May have to put a little bit of right movement on it, but a great spot to be, very accessible.
And as you said, got a lot more forward. Kind of in a similar lateral move to Sexton, but just 80 feet more forward. And Ricky kind of doing the same thing there.
Fantastic. That should be looking straight at it where Ricky's at.
I mean, that's just so smooth.
Not too bad.
Yeah, not too bad. Could have been a bit higher to get up to the pin, but gonna have a birdie look nonetheless.
Great shot from Calvin. Just gonna have a drop-in birdie to end his round to go back-to-back and 8 down. It's gonna put him up there towards the top of the leaderboard for sure.
Absolutely, and a drop-in is always nice to finish. Väinö looking to have the same. Gonna have a bit of a putt left. Not quite a drop-in, but our third birdie look here on the card.
Yeah, he clipped a little bit of that ceiling, so it kind of slowed him down, but like you said, still in circle one. Ricky, same thing, kind of gets slowed down by those branches.
Yeah, a bit too high on the approach. Looked like he went with slammer and trying to put enough on it. Just got too much height. Nice bid for the birdie there. Tough to really give that a good bid and stay as close as he did, but should have a tap-in par now.
Okay.
Count it.
The scorecard doesn't have eyes, but we do.
8
But
down.
nonetheless, a birdie's a birdie, and 8 down's 8 down. Gets in the top 10 for the day.
Väinö.
What a round, man.
Incredible round. Bogey to start. Had a bit of a lull in the middle with some pars, but whenever you string that many birdies in a row, those pars kind of don't get on your nerves too bad. Finish with back-to-back, 10 down, tied for the lead. Or so it would seem.
Or so it would seem indeed. Of course, this event had different pools. So, of course, this was A pool playing at Jones. We also had B pool playing at Country Club for round one. And Tristan Tanner from that B pool did shoot 13 down. So he's your all-around leader. Everyone else you see there from the A pool playing. So 10 down was indeed the hot round over at Jones. So Again, we appreciate you all for tuning into our coverage here at Gatekeeper Media for Worlds, and we hope that you'll follow up so that you can catch the rest of it throughout the week. We appreciate you all, and a special thank you, of course, to our Patreon supporters. Once again, I'm Dustin Mouret. With me, thank the Queen. We'll see you for the next round.
We'll see you guys out there.